Kukukwes everyone, Mi'kmaq Stone Carver here again with another video. Today's video is with Kukukwes Owl. I made this carving out of Himalayan salt. It is cut out to be a lamp. So today I'm going to show you how I'm starting to finish off some of the chisel work that I've done. Normally I would use water and wet sand these areas, but because this is salt, I've discovered that if I add too much water to it, the stone actually begins to dissolve and becomes pitted. So I'm using a 220 grit sandpaper. It's pretty coarse to remove some of the pitting holes. You can see the pits show up as a bright white. So I need a coarser sandpaper to get rid of those divots and scratches to bring it down. Like that. Then I can take a tiny amount of water, drip it onto a rag so that it's damp, and then use it to wipe off that excess salt dust. And that actually has the effect of a very fine sandpaper. By removing the finest surface off of the salt. So that was around the eye. Now let's try back in here in these feathers. You can see the divots making a white line where I've used a chisel to remove lots of material. So I'm going to roll my sandpaper a couple times so that it doesn't have a sharp edge, and try to sand in there where that crease is. I hope you can see this okay. I don't know how the focuser is working. I'll go a little lower. The last video I made, I had lots of focus issues. I was working much closer to the camera, I think. So this time I've used a couple of clamps and set up like a little tripod area. Hopefully it is not as bad, but I can't see the camera now, so I won't know until after this video is made to see if it worked or not. So you can still see that I have some lines there. You can see by my sandpaper that it's really starting to gum up with the salt. And that's another benefit of wet sanding. When the paper is all wet, it washes away some of that dust. But with salt, I can't do that. So I just have to struggle with it and try and knock some of the salt dust out of the paper. If you go to Facebook, to my page, Mi'kmaq Stone Carver, and go into the photo albums, you can see the original pictures of this, of how it first started out, and resembled an owl right from the beginning. I'm going to try some dampness on the towel. Wipe this area clean and see how I did in those scratches. Not bad. You can still see there's a couple there. I'm not sure how the light is reflecting for you in the camera, but I hope you can see how smooth it comes just from wiping with a damp cloth, which is very unusual when using 220 grit sandpaper. Normally I would have to use 1,000 or 2,000 grit paper to get that effect. So you can see in here that the claws that I've carved out are looking kind of pale and white. That's an effect of using the chisels, putting pressure on it. I do not recommend anyone using quality chisels and carving with salt. You can see how much they've destroyed these cheap chisels. So I do not want to use my good chisels on them. The salt has had a very detrimental effect. If I had done a better job in realizing that was going to happen and cleaned them up and oiled them, I may have prevented that. But there's only so much time in the day. So yeah, the salt has a very soft granular structure, unlike limestone, which is often used by impact carvers using a hammer and chisel. Salt and soapstone are stones that will bruise easily, so carving with a hammer and chisel is not recommended. Abrasive carving is much better for this, which is using a sandpaper or scratching with knives and chisels. So that's what I did for the latter part of this once I realized how bad the salt bruises, and that has helped quite a bit. But that white effect, as the salt begins to absorb humidity and moisture out of the air, I think that whiteness will disappear a bit. Until then, I'm just going to continue working with the sandpaper on this piece. No more using a chisel or anything like that. The sun's coming out there now, a little brighter. I'm trying to lower some of the overhang of the belly feathers over the feet. I like that look, but it's a little much here right now, so I want to try and reduce that and see if I can do some more fine carving of the toes and claws. So that looks kind of rough there right now, but we'll do our handy little water on a towel again. Get it a little bit damp. Again, not too much water. I tried rinsing this off one day with a garden hose, and the effect was very unwanted. It created lots of pitting, and I had to go over the whole thing again to remove that pitting from the hose. So, mental note, not too much water on salt. And I think that's it for today. For the video anyways. I will continue working. Please subscribe to my page. Enjoy all the other videos. And if you're on Facebook, like and follow Mi'kmaq Stone Carver. And I'm also on Instagram. Thank you very much. Walalan.